I welcome you all to the 8th day of Indus Valley International Film Festival on 9th October. And we are going to have a very interesting panel discussion today, very fruitful and interesting. And we have eminent filmmakers, top filmmakers from all South Asian countries joining us, most of the South Asian countries, not all. So I'll just introduce them. We have Mr. Visakesa Chandrasekaram, who is from Sri Lanka. He's a very well-known filmmaker now. In Sri Lanka, he has already made 2 feature films. His latest feature film is already running in theaters, titled Pangshu. And his film Pangshu is already part of this festival as well. We have another eminent filmmaker from Nepal, Mr. Bahadur Bham. Mr. Bham is a well-known director, producer in Kathmandu, based in Kathmandu. We have Mr. Brahmanand Singh from India. He is a well-known filmmaker he has made many successful feature documentary films, and as well as he has now also made fiction feature film. His latest fiction film, Jhalki, was just released a few months ago, and it was part of our festival, previous festival. So welcome Brahmanand ji. He is a writer, director, and producer. We have Mr. Shahzad Rafiq, filmmaker from Pakistan. Shahzad Saab has made many feature films in Pakistan. He has made many collaborative projects with India also. He has done collaborative feature films with India. And welcome Shahzad Saab. Aapka swagat hai. So, and friends, we will be joined by Mr. R. Balki. We are expected to join by Mr. R. Balki. Mr. Vishal Bhardwaj will of course join. He has sent his confirmation, but he said he'll join little late. You start the conversation. And we have Ms. Supriti, who is our jury member, diversity and inclusion consultant based in Bangalore. And she is also head of communication of Indus Valley.
Amazing.
So I welcome.
Thank you, Harsh.
Yeah, so I welcome Supriti to drive the conversation.
Thank you so much, Harsh. It's always very nice to meet each of these people. We have met each of them separately in different sessions, but to have everybody together to discuss some of the common issues that ail the South Asian film industry, how to address that, and how to leverage it. You know, that's what we will be focusing on today. How can we become a strength that the world will have to sort of contest? What can we do in the South Asian region to make the collective film industry, the collective filmmaking community, whether it is actors or screenwriters, screenplay writers, or whether it is directors or producers or technicians, how can we bring everybody together so that we can leverage the strength of this region? So we're going to be talking around this concept, and I would like to first start by asking each of you, in your country, what do you think are the key challenges for the film industry to zoom, to sort of rocket to success? What are the stumbling blocks right now, if any? Visakesa, maybe we can start with you. Good to see you again. Visa, I think you're on mute.
Hi, just to let you know that I'm actually not working in film industry full time. Long time ago, in 1980s, I entered as an assistant director. Then I was out of the industry until I made the 2 films recently. But I have a some understanding about the challenges in the cinema industry here in Sri Lanka. I think the biggest one is that our audience is small. Although we have 22 million population in the country, not all of them are able to afford to go to the cinema as a method of entertainment. And also, secondly, with the arrival of television in early 80s, we haven't done much to protect the film industry. And so, on the other hand, for a small country, we have about 25 television channels where they air soap operas almost every hour of the afternoon, evenings. And so we have this huge competition. Then the other challenges are that I have to confess or concede that we don't have good content to the cinemas. We don't produce good content. And a lot of the movies are unfortunately not in the standard to compete with the movies coming from Hollywood or Bollywood. And because of that, they do not tend to survive in the cinemas, and that is so basically the most of the cinemas, for most of the cinemas, the key earning method is actually screening films coming from America and India mainly. Then we have huge issue in terms of production financing. We don't have a state funding system to protect professional art house filmmakers, and we don't have private film production studios. We have production houses, which are kind of mostly penfold companies, but no studios as such. And one of the biggest issues we have is the lack of consistency in the distribution aspect. So the distribution is mainly in the hand of very handful of people, companies, or cinema owning companies, and it is not properly done. In 1970s, we have introduced the government film corporation concept. The film corporation is still there, or nominally, but which is supposed to actually distribute films in the country, but they are not doing it properly, and there is a court case pending, which has been going on for last couple of years. So this is in a nutshell, these are the challenges that we have in our film industry.
Right. Thank you so much, Visakesa. Just like a professor that was, it was very beautifully articulated. I just want to let all of you know that Visakesa actually teaches law at Colombo University. And so we could just see that how easily that flowed. Thank you so much for that. मीन बहादुर साहब, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, what do you think are the challenges that you face in Nepal with respect to the film industry?
So the main challenge is we really have less skillful technicians. That's the reason most of the time we have to depend on European GP, editor, sound recordings, and there is no proper post-production studio in the country. And another challenge is we have to compete with the films that are coming from Bollywood and of course from Hollywood as well. And another challenge is there is no state funding in Nepal. So we have to find private money to make films. But nowadays, young filmmakers, they are trying to co-produce with Europe and some other countries as well. And another challenge is the audience, because we have very less populations in the country and most of them, they are abroad. So these are the main challenges nowadays we are facing in the film industry.
शहजाद साहब, पाकिस्तान में आप क्या सोचते हैं कि कोई challenges हैं अगर फिल्म इंडस्ट्री के लिए? पहले तो बहुत ही अच्छी होती थी, ये थोड़े टाइम से कमजोर चल रही है, तो उसको कैसे इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं या क्या चैलेंजेस हैं अभी के टाइम पे?
जी, चैलेंजेस जो हम सब यहाँ पे जो फेस कर रहे हैं, आई थिंक लॉट ऑफ चैलेंजेस, वन ऑफ लो नंबर ऑफ स्क्रीन्स। हमारे पास जो नंबर ऑफ स्क्रीन्स है वो 75 to 80 स्क्रीन्स है। कन्वेंशनल सिनेमा जो है वो ऑलरेडी पहले शुरू खत्म हो चुका है। तो जो एक नया कल्चर, मल्टीप्लेक्स कल्चर आया, उसमें मैं बिल्कुल क्रेडिट देना चाहूँगा इंडियन फिल्म्स को भी, कि इंडियन फिल्म्स पाकिस्तान में जब रिलीज हुई तो नया सिनेमा कल्चर जो है वो डेवलप। तो जब इंडियन फिल्म यहाँ पे रिलीज हुई तो डेफिनेटली एक यहाँ के मेकर्स के लिए एक नया चैलेंज था, एक कंपटीशन की फिजा जो है वो क्रिएट हो गई। तो प्रोडक्शन जो है उसकी जो है कास्ट जो है वो बढ़ती गई है। अब प्रोडक्शन की कास्ट जो है वो बहुत बढ़ गई है। नंबर ऑफ स्क्रीन हमारे पास है नहीं, वेन्यू हमारे पास है नहीं जहाँ से हमें जो है वो रिटर्न आए। तो ये सबसे बड़ा एक चैलेंज है। दूसरा, इंडिया में हमारा जो है, क्योंकि एक ही मुल्क के दो वो हुए हैं पार्ट, तो हमारी बहुत सारी वैल्यूज, चीजें, कल्चरल सारा जो है ना वो आपस में मिलता जुलता है, एक घर के अंदर ही दीवार की। तो हमने ये मल्टीप्लेक्स कल्चर के अंदर जो है ना प्रॉब्लम एक सबसे बड़ा है कि अमीर आदमी के लिए जो तकलीफ जो है वो रहेगी एंटरटेनमेंट, गरीब आदमी की रसाई नहीं। जबकि इंडिया में आज भी गरीब आदमी जो है वो कन्वेंशनल सिनेमा जो फिल्म देखता है, फिल्म उसे जो है ना देखने को मिलती है, कम रेट पर मिलती है, उसकी पहुंच में। तो यहाँ हमारे पाकिस्तान में गरीब आदमी और मिडिल क्लास लोगों के लिए फिल्म जो है ना आउट ऑफ रीच हो गई। ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है। इससे हमें जो है क्रिएटिविटी भी जो है वो हमारी हर्ट हुई है। हम मौजूदात पे नहीं जा पा रहे। हम रोम कॉम कॉमेडी फिल्में, लव स्टोरी फिल्में, इस तरह की फिल्में जो है वो बना पा रहे हैं और इस तरह की ही चलती है। जबकि हमारे यहाँ बड़ा एक शानदार पास रहा है, हमने बड़ी बड़ी अच्छी उम्दा फिल्में, कंटेंट बेस्ड फिल्में जो है वो बनाई है और बड़ा आला काम हुआ। अब क्वालिटी वाइज तो हम इम्प्रूव करिए। क्वालिटी वाइज हमारे यंग मेकर्स जो हैं वो पढ़ कर फिल्म आ रहे हैं और एस्थेटिकली सिनेमा हमारा बड़ा रिच हो। बट हम एंटरटेनमेंट जो है वो सिर्फ एक क्लास का हक नहीं होता। एंटरटेनमेंट जो है वो हर क्लास तक जो है पहुंचनी चाहिए। ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है जिसके लिए हम बड़ी कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि जिस तरह इंडिया में यूएफओ सिनेमा या सैटेलाइट सिनेमा से इंटरनेशनल सिनेमा को सेव किया गया है, बचाया गया है, गरीब की पहुंच में सिनेमा है, तो हमारे यहाँ भी गरीब की पहुंच में सिनेमा है। दूसरा, यहाँ एक और चैलेंज जो है इंडिपेंडेंट फिल्म प्रोड्यूसर्स को फेस करना पड़ रहा है, वो है यहाँ हमारे पावर हाउस जो है ना वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में चले गए। पावर हाउस से मुराद जो है चैनल्स, 3-4 चैनल्स हैं, वो फिल्में जो वो प्रोड्यूस करते हैं वो उनकी जितना प्रमोशन करते हैं, जो बेचारा इंडिपेंडेंट प्रोड्यूसर है उसे अपनी फिल्म की प्रमोशन के लिए पैसे खर्च करने पड़ते हैं। और यहाँ प्रॉब्लम एक और जो हमें है फाइनेंसिंग, यहाँ हमें बैंक फाइनेंसिंग कोई नहीं। तो इंडिपेंडेंट प्रोड्यूसर ने जो भी है पैसा जो है ना वो जेब से ही लगाना। तो कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में प्रॉपर अभी तक पाकिस्तान की फिल्म जो है नहीं, ये भी एक हमारा मसला है कि इंडिविजुअल प्रोड्यूसर जो है वो बेचारा फिल्म बनाने के काबिल नहीं रहा और कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में प्रॉपर फिल्म जो है नहीं। तो ये वो चैलेंजेस है जिसके अंदर हम इनको फेस कर रहे हैं। तीसरा, अब तो खैर बेहतरी आ गई है, ये वी आर विक्टिम ऑफ टेररिज्म, यहाँ पे हर रोज बम धमाके होते थे, तो वो भी उससे भी सिनेमा को बहुत नुकसान होता है। अब जरा हालात जो है वो बेहतर हो गए, लेकिन इंडियन फिल्म जो है वो पाकिस्तान नहीं आ रही। उसकी वजह से भी एक प्रॉब्लम है क्योंकि पाकिस्तान के अंदर हम फिल्में जो बना रहे हैं उनकी तादाद 15 से 20 मैक्सिमम है, लेकिन सिनेमा को तो हर वीक फिल्म चाहिए। तो इंडियन फिल्म आने से एक खासा एडवांटेज ये वो मिला था हमें। सिनेमा की नंबर ऑफ स्क्रीन जो है वो ग्रेजुअली बढ़ रही थी, वो अब आके रुक गई। मैं समझता हूँ कि हमारे दोनों मुल्कों के जो हालात है पॉलिटिकली, तो चाहे कुछ भी हो, सिनेमा के ऊपर, फिल्म के ऊपर वो हालात जो है वो असरअंदाज नहीं होने चाहिए। क्योंकि मैं समझता हूँ कि ये जो फिल्म है, सिनेमा की स्क्रीन, ये विंडोज है दोनों मुल्कों के दरमियान। इनसे एक वेंटिलेशन का सिलसिला जो है रहता है, पीपल टू पीपल कंटेंट जो है ना, कनेक्शन में रहते हैं पीपल टू पीपल जो है ना, लोग एक दूसरे को वजह फिल्म जानते हैं और लाइटिंग भी सेम है। जो अगर सलमान खान की वहाँ पे लाइटिंग है, सेम पाकिस्तान के अंदर जो है सलमान खान की लाइटिंग है। जो आमिर खान की लाइटिंग है, सेम यहाँ पे है। गुलजार साहब को जितना वहाँ चाहा जाता है उतना ही यहाँ चाहा जाता है। यश चोपड़ा साहब को भी उतना ही चाहा गया है यहाँ पे जितना वहाँ चाहा गया है। तो ये सिनेमा जो है, ये इनके अंदर पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम नहीं आना चाहिए और ये फिल्में खुलनी चाहिए, एक दूसरे की फिल्में लगनी चाहिए। ये एक वेंटिलेशन का सिलसिला है जो बंद हो गया है, ये खुलना चाहिए।
थैंक यू शहजाद साहब, बहुत ही अच्छा था जो आपने बोला। ऑफ कोर्स हम इसलिए इस बात से शुरुआत कर रहे हैं कि हम धीरे धीरे इसका हल ढूंढ पाए, तो सेशन के आखिर में हम उस तरफ थोड़ा सा अपना रुझान लेके जाएंगे। उसके लिए आई वांट टू इनवाइट ब्रह्मानंद सिंह जी। he's a great cinema thinker, I would call him. And of course he writes scripts and he makes cinema, but I think there are some people who जो मशाल लेके चलते हैं ना, मैं ब्रह्मानंद सिंह जी को उस कैटेगरी में रखना चाहती हूँ। So I want to request Brahmanand ji if he can speak in English, because then everybody will be able to understand what are the challenges that the Indian film industry is facing today.
So thank you for those bright lines about me. I hope to live up to it to whatever extent. But yeah, I would say that the problems all over are more or less the same everywhere. The idea is, how do we look for solutions? Solutions are different in different countries, and that is where I think we as a unified whole together as on, if we create the South Asian films platform, it will benefit from it. So I think, so what are the problems anywhere is a cohesive set of thoughts, ideas, people coming together, a plan, a script, execution, technicians, all these things. So let's start one by one. I feel that number one is that let's say if we have a platform, what we need is scripts, ideas, subjects, which needs then to be developed into screenplays. Once it gets developed into screenplays, technicians and teams can be brought together and project takes off. Now, where are the real problems? The real problems, I think, that most of us face is in the right from the development stage. There is no forum, there is no funds, there is no set of mentors organized in an organized way. So Harsh ko agar film banani hai, to Harsh will look forward to meeting someone and going ahead. But suppose this is a platform like you had. There are many platforms internationally from which we can take we can borrow some models. But one that comes to my mind is something like Prime Exchange, jo ab nahi hai. But Prime Exchange used to be a platform which would select 10 good films every year as part, which had some kind of an India and European interest. So instead of India and Europe interests, here we can have South Asian interests. So we can select every year 10 great projects. We can have a panel. Okay. Once we have that, then what Prime Exchange would do is they would help you twice in a 3-day workshop in either Germany or some other place, and Goa as part of the Indian Film Festival here. They would help you, they will give you a lot of consultants. So there would be a script consultant, there would be a cast consultant, there would be a marketing consultant. So they would then help you flesh out a project which would then be ready to go to a particular star for their consent. Otherwise, किसी भी star के पास भी आप जाएंगे तो वो सबसे पहले यही पूछते हैं कि okay, what's the project? Do you have a script and things like that? And most people have bright ideas, but it never gets developed into a proper treatment note, revisions, 3 drafts, 6 drafts, then from there into a script, 4 drafts, 8 drafts, 10 drafts, whatever, into a presentation, a show reel, whatever. So I think you need a platform, you need a set of mentors, advisors, and you need some little funds. And once you have this vision, I think the problem, or I would say the advantage with a vision and a plan is that you have people who will come forward to support you. So I always talk about this, that it's as long as if you have a top angle of any situation, any condition, any vision, any ambition, you can see the dead ends, you can see the roadblocks, you can see the dead ends in a maze. Otherwise you'll reach the dead end and then realize that there is a maze, that there is a dead end. But if you have a top view, you will know that, well, this road has a dead end and this road has an easy option. Well, you'll have to travel all of it, no doubt. You will have to travel, no other person can travel. So I think if we can have a platform, a consortium of this kind, where you identify and invite themes, ideas, scripts at whatever level they have. But if already they have a script, great, let's talk a stage 3. If they don't have this the script, if they have it at the treatment level, let's talk stage 2. If they don't even have that, let's talk stage 1, and so on and so forth. So then it becomes a platform. It gets known in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in Nepal, all these countries. Filmmakers want to apply to that platform. There's a panel which selects 10 best projects every year. Now then, those 10 projects, there can be some kind of a fund that can be created for development, which would pay these consultants and mentors and things like that. And then the project gets fleshed out. Projects को पकाना पड़ता है. यहाँ पे एक बहुत ही मतलब कुछ लोगों के दिमाग में है कि मेरे पास अगर एक ब्राइट आइडिया है तो मैं बस जाकर के फिल्म बना लूंगा. So I think we need to mature a little from there, and there are too many ideas which are very bright, but the executors behind that are lost. So this platform helps become a guidance, a guideline, with the help of mentors, with the help of consultants, with the help of a certain systematized way. And then we go into the stage 4 or stage 5. Let's chalk out those 7, 8 stages. And I think जावेद अख्तर साहब का एक बहुत खूबसूरत लाइन है, कदम उठाओ तो मंजिल रास्ता बन जाती है. So we have options of continuing to talk about this for the next 3 years, and we have the option to talk up to a point, say 6 meetings, 7 meetings, ideas brainstorm करके, flesh out करके, एक plan बना करके, and then let's get going on the action. So I am for action. I am for a little bit of planning, and I'm for a very great vision. You can't do anything without a vision. Once you have a vision, you have to work backwards. What is it? So let's say in 3 years from today, 2020, 2023, we want to see the first lot of films take off. Now let's work back and see whatever it needs. Believe me, there are funds, there are money, there are corporate supports, there are non-corporate supports, there are production houses support, there are OTT supports. We are living in very good times, fortunately, in spite of the COVID breaks that has been put. Things will become better in 3 months, 6 months, a year's time max. And if by that time you would have firmed up the vision, the plan, the execution, the board members, the consultants, the panelists, the mentors, we are on. But this is just the time which can be done through Zoom meetings, and emails and things like that that should be done. That's how I see it. I feel that there are issues, there are ideas abounding, there are ideas around, but there is no definitive platform or way or a set of mentors officially, formally, to actually turn them into reality. So my advocacy would be, take a look at your ideas, make a plan, go ahead, let the endpoint be 10 films every year. 2 could be from Pakistan, 2 could be from India, 1 could be from Bangladesh, whatever, you know. That's it. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ramadanji, for that. That is very positive. Of course, Indian film industry is also so vast. We have the Assamese film industry, we have Tamil, Telugu, Malayali film industry, Bhojpuri, and of course, what everybody knows as Bollywood. And I'm sure, for example, Sri Lanka has so many Tamilians and Bengalis that they would find some sort of synergy with the Bengali film industry and with the Tamilian film industry and the actors. The language will be more endearing. Of course, I think with Pakistan and Nepal, it's really the Hindi film industry, or what we know as Bollywood, which would hit off more. But I liked your idea ki if we can create a platform like this, and of course the thinking cap has to be put on, and we have to find the right people, and we must find the right funds to support these kind of projects. Hopefully, this is what I want to ask you, all of you. Why would anybody put funds in a platform like this? Does it open up audiences, markets? Does it help to crisscross?
So I would love to share a few of my thoughts that come to my mind. One is there are plenty of funds. You Google and you will come across at least 300 great funds available. We don't know about it. Okay, that's our ignorance. That's not the dearth of funds. Okay, now what kind of films are we talking about? We are talking about, see, the films have to be, if you are selecting 10 best films, the films have to be of two kinds. Okay, one which has by itself a business potential, a box office potential, OTT potential, whatever, or it needs to be so compelling and so great without necessarily being a blockbuster that someone will find it sensible to fund it. Now this someone has to be co-opted. Okay, so there is a fund that needs to be created, and there are funds that needs to be accessed. So you just need one or two consultants, one or two mentors who will guide you to that. Believe me, from the first film till date, there are hundreds of films that get made. There has to be a will first, and then there has to be a script, and then there has to be, and rest everything follows. The 2000 other films that don't get made is not because it can't get made. It's because nobody is working hard enough to get them made. Okay, so I think it has to be a very comprehensive plan. Yes, it's not easy. I'm not, at no point of time should I be mistaken to be said that, well, it's a child's play, and you just need to have an idea, and the film will get made. And that's exactly what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that first the idea needs to be fleshed out. A script has to be written. A treatment note has to be written. The cast has to be thought of. The planning has to be done. If you go to ask anyone for money, they will ask for all these details. And many of us suffer at that stage. हमारे पास वो 20 लाख रुपया नहीं होता है to put in. Because whoever is putting in this 20 lakhs for a 6 crore film, let us say, or a 4 crore film, will be putting in blindly. At this point, there are no actors signed, there are no scripts that you can see, but the potential is there. So 20 lakh for a potential, 12 lakh for a potential is not a very a big thing. 6 crore for a potential, it's a big thing. Okay,
Understood.
so people don't put. And so they say कि हाँ ठीक है अक्षय कुमार के ले आओ सलमान खान को ले आओ तो बात फिर अलग हो जाती है. You know, then it's no longer cinema that we are talking about. Then we are talking about business ideas. Okay, so let's have, see, this is one of the rare art forms which has to have creativity, which has to have a technical understanding and in sync with the times. Okay, if today Min Bahadur says that no, I will, no matter, I believe in 35 and I will shoot on reel itself, he will not even find the reels today. Okay, he cannot even buy the reels. Okay, so yeah, but so he has to move with the times. He has to be, and you have to leverage technology. Well, if there are 10 different kinds of 4K cameras available, and one of them costs less, and for your film it's suitable, and things like that, you have low budget, please understand it and adopt. Then how do you make use of the with limited equipment? How do you achieve maximum? So all these things our mentors will teach young filmmakers. Okay, how to achieve maximum with minimum. Okay, so anyway, the moment you have these things fleshed out, a project worked out, there will be funds. There will be funds, people who can be reached out, and they will put in. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that it has a certain process, and that process must be understood, and it has to be legitimized by way of a vision and a platform.
Lovely. So I think that is very reassuring because frankly, I, sitting so far away, not being so much from the film industry at all, I think, maybe funds is a problem for very good filmmakers. So like if Visakesa has made a film called Pangchu, which has been shown in this film festival. It's a very sensitively made film, and it's about a youth sort of uprising that existed in Sri Lanka. Because of which there is an impact on an everyday common person, a woman who's looking for her son, who people believe has probably died and is no longer alive, and she's looking for him. The way that he has portrayed that, the cinematography, everything is beautiful. In fact, I told Visakesa, I said, how can a lawyer be so sensitive? But it's very beautiful film. When I see that film, I become sensitized to the issues that a country like Sri Lanka is facing. और when I see पाकिस्तान से पिछले वाले फेस्टिवल में हर्ष आपको याद है एक हमने फिल्म दिखाई थी मोटरसाइकिल गर्ल वो जीनत की लाइफ स्टोरी पे बेस्ड थी. This is a real scenario of a girl called Zeenat chose to fulfill her father's dream of driving all the way to the mountains on his motorbike. Then he passes away and she wants to fulfill that. So the challenges that a girl faces when she starts riding a motorcycle, उसको सोसाइटी में लोग क्या क्या कहते हैं, उसकी शादी भी टूट जाती है, ये सब होता है. It's so real. वो बांग्लादेश में भी हो सकता है, वो इंडिया में भी हो सकता है. It could happen anywhere. So, but the stories coming out of Pakistan, it gives me a new insight to Pakistani society, of how in Pakistani society also there are these kinds of issues which we would have in Bangladesh, we would have in India also, and we connect. So film has this huge potential to connect people, but आजकल जो films connect कर रही हैं वो एक अलग तरह की film है. And अगर हम ऐसी sensitively made films जो empowering हैं, which are empowering women, which are about empowering the downtrodden or people, it would be so nice. Our Balkiji is going to join us in a while, but the film that he made, Padman, I was telling Visakesa about it because in his film, he has shown a particular scene. It is very beautiful film. It's about a young girl attaining puberty, and there is a ritual around it, which is only done by the Dhobi woman. And when he showed that, I somehow couldn't understand kya ho raha hai. I asked him and he explained this to me. So, there is a film which is showing that ritual, and there is a film which will show Padman and the revolution that Padman has brought about. So, having access to this kind of cinema is, I think, it's revolutionary, opening up the markets, having access to this kind of cinema will really change a lot in terms of how people's perception is. So I'm going to ask another question. This entire region, South Asian region, has a um, uh, very emotionally charged people. We say that South Asians are very emotional people. So for our parents, we have a certain kind of feeling. For teachers, we have. For gurus, we have. For politicians, we have a different kind of feeling. So what I want to ask is, there have been many people's movements, which have spread across this region. If we see Bangladesh, there is the movement around microcredit. Muhammad Yunus Saab, who also got the Nobel Peace Prize, which is to support the poor people to become self-reliant, through income generating schemes. If you look at India, Brahmanand, you have written that film Jhalki, which is on Kailash Satyarthi ji, which is about preventing and dealing with child labor in India. He's also got the Nobel Peace Prize for that. If we look at Pakistan, we have Malala. She has done phenomenal work on fighting for young girls to gain education and for fighting for their rights. She's also got a Nobel Prize. So in this region, people have been very activist oriented. They want to take action. अगर government कुछ नहीं कर पा रही तो हम करेंगे. तो अगर इसके ऊपर आपको कुछ बनाना हो film, मतलब not on these characters I have mentioned, but if you had to make a film on some one issue in your country, which is reflecting people's uprising or a people's urge, then what would it be? Please tell us about that. Visakesa, you want to go first?
Yes. First of all, I just want to make a little clarification on Bengali films. So the middle class, this urban-based population, people seem to like Bengali movies, but we don't have Bengali-speaking population here. It's only the Tamil population who are basically relying on films coming from Tamil Nadu. But that actually leads to another point that that you are making, because one of the reasons probably for us to be linked with some of the Bengali movies, probably because of politics of filmmakers like Adur Gopal Krishnan. And those Bengali movies were mainly promoted by the left-wing social or political groups here. So that's a kind of connection that was built here in terms of promoting some of those Bengali filmmakers. Probably I would say late 70s, 80s. But after that, actually, we lost that trend, unfortunately. And there is a trend amongst young people, particularly young people who are kind of exploring films or studying films to follow Malayali film industry, which is really interesting. Now to the question that you are raising in terms of what are the common issues that we might find interesting to all of us. I think definitely things that are dealing with the topics that are dealing with human rights, particularly topics around disappearance and human rights violation. For example, a lot of people in the urban areas at least would have heard the film Piravi, the Indian film, although they might have not seen it, because Piravi was screened in Sri Lanka after all these disappearances occurred in late 1980s, not in cinemas, but in festivals and private screenings, and also the pirated version of the film was circulated among a lot of people. So that sort of human rights related topics, I think, are very common for all of us, either something to do with an uprising or something to do with the general issues in the society. And then I would say uh, there was a time, this was a long time ago, we used to dub Indian films, either Hindi or sometimes Tamil, when they have something to do with Buddhism. For example, the story of Ambapali, this was a black and white movie which was dubbed and screened in Sri Lanka, I think probably late 60s or early 70s. And that is because that is very, because the majority of the Sri Lankans are Buddhist, and they would follow a story coming from that part of the, that type of a story. And I think then also, I mean, this is not to do with film industry, but there are a lot of other family melodramas are being dubbed and shown in Sri Lankan television. I don't think that's a very good trend to follow, but that happens here. Then I would say I haven't thought about this much, but I think I would like to move into another area, that stories where we have they're transnational stories. For example, refugees. A lot of refugees went to South India during the wartime, and they settled there, and they lost the home country, and they were in so-called refugee camps, but they kind of, tiny little houses. And can we tell a story like that, which has so much relevancy to at least two countries, if not many? And then there was a commercial or formula film that was done in 1980s, that a Indian Indian pilot, the story is Indian pilot having an affair with Sri Lankan Sinhalese woman. It's called Pilot Brahmanand, and that was hugely successful in Sri Lanka, and I believe it's the same in India as well. In Shivaji Ganeshan played the main role. So that sort of transnational stories. So they may have a common issues, or at least they may have a story. That characters, actors, at least actors, who are known in those particular countries. And so there were a number of attempts like that earlier. I think in the last discussion I mentioned about the Sri Lankan and Pakistani collaboration work that happened in mid 80s. I think at least 4 or 5 films were made by some sort of collaboration. They are not kind of supported by government, but the collaboration work was done by private entities. And so Sabita Perera from Sri Lanka and went and acted in Pakistani films, and some of the Pakistani actors came and acted in Sri Lankan films, and the films were released in both countries, in both languages, Urdu and Sinhalese. So I think that is another way of kind of moving forward in terms of not necessarily only looking for the common issues, but also looking for common stories where we can probably shoot in both countries. And then it's a film that is made in both countries rather than in one country.
Mean Bahadur ji, what is your opinion about this idea which Brahmanand ji suggested, that there are plenty of options for collaboration and also support, but we need to create a platform? What is your opinion? Yes, now speak.
Okay, so I totally agree the point what Brahmanand sir said, because let's say the filmmakers from our region, the young generations filmmakers, whoever I met them everywhere in the festivals like Busan, Berlin, and some other festivals. Everybody have passions and idea to make a film, but the problem is they don't have concrete plan regarding the educations and funding, because we all have treatment, storyline, idea, and we have a vision to make a film, and we have a big dream to make a film. But the problem is we cannot move forward without having some sort of funding or consultancy or to go to the market, lab, from the house, and to get the attention from, let's say, European producers or production sites or even funding. And the very interesting point is uh, if you have a project and you already finished the script, and if you already even have a team and you are ready to apply for funding like production funds, but without having primary funding from the government, either from an agency from your local country, most of the funding agency in the Europe, they really don't believe on the project because they feel like, okay, if this project doesn't even have development fund, then why they are just looking for the production fund? And even some of the production funding agencies, they have strict regulations that at least 20% budget need to be secured while applying the project. So this is very interesting to have funding with collaboration within South Asian countries. And also it really helps for a script writer because my first priority always is on the script writing, especially in the case of South Asian region. We scriptwriter directors suffer a lot in this stage while writing a script because we change our idea and we want to have some people give comments, feedbacks, and we also at the same time we also want to submit the project for development fund and some market labs. But for those kind of things, you really need to have seed money to travel, seed money to shoot the demo reel, seed money to translate, because there are so many filmmakers in our region who cannot write in English. So this is really, really important, and it's very interesting if there could be any collaborative project development fund. So I totally agree.
Brahmanandji, Meen Bahadur raised a very important point. The lack of fund is the major issue for any country, any filmmaker. And so the models, few models which you had suggested. So can it be realized a forum, a platform could be made where and a film fund could be created where film interest funds can be accumulated at one platform, and then you select eligible films to support.
So I would like to say that, and Harsh and Supriti, I have a hard stop. I have to jump off out around 4 o'clock. So I'll just make this point and let you people continue. Okay. So here, as I said that, as Bahadur said that, most people lack either funds or the know-how. Okay, these are the two things. Newer filmmakers lack the know-how कि कैसे मतलब क्या क्या स्टेप से हमको गुजरना पड़ता है to make a film, and funds, everyone from newcomer to the seasoned filmmakers, everyone is looking for funds. At the same time, what I was sharing was that there is no dearth of funds. Funds are available, but you need to tap them here. What this platform does is it systemizes things. Not everybody, Meen Bahadur might be a great artist, but he may not be a big entrepreneur. Okay. So, whereas someone who might be a lesser artist is a better entrepreneur, he will go and meet 12 people and get the funds and will make film. But Meen Bahadur, in spite of being a genius, may not be able to make a film. So, what I'm trying to share here is that once it becomes a platform, then we will choose that entrepreneur who will get the funds. Okay, getting funds can be the headache and responsibility of 1 or 2%, because funds are available. If you propose a fleshed out project to anyone, someone will put in money. If you meet 5 people, 10 people, 12 people, okay. Number one. Number two is that, what are we talking about? We are talking about we are talking about seed money. We are talking about development funds. Okay. So 20-20 लाख करके अगर डेवलपमेंट फंड्स होता है तो 2 करोड़ में 10 फिल्में एक एक कोई म्यूट कर लो, एक कोई आई थिंक समवन्स
कर दिया
फोन इज ऑन. हाँ. सो आई थिंक दैट से 20-20 लाख करके अगर 10 प्रोजेक्ट को डेवलप करना है तो 2 करोड़ ही है. इट्स नॉट अ वेरी बिग अमाउंट. फॉरगेट फंड्स, फाउंडेशंस, कॉर्पोरेट्स, ये तो आ ही सकते हैं, बट वो अगर नहीं भी है, सपोज देयर इज वन बिजनेस ओरिएंटेड पर्सन, ओके, इवन ही कैन बी रोप्ड इन कि भैया 2 करोड़ में हम आपको 10 ऑप्शंस दे रहे हैं और उसमें से हम किसी एक फिल्म को, दो फिल्म को, जिसको भी जैसे फंडिंग मिलते जाएगी वो उसमें से हम इतना % हम आपको कमिट करेंगे. इट कैन बी अ बिजनेस आइडिया फॉर हिम. Okay, but I'm saying all these things are possible. It cannot be a sense of entitlement alone. It has to be that you have to give it back to whoever you are collaborating with. So I'm saying that it cannot be that I have a great subject, I am genius filmmaker, so here I'm entitled that everyone will give money. It does not happen like that. You have to convince or get convinced. Okay, so here the platform will have the best of specialists. It will have a person who will look after this, who will look after that, who will put together. There are some people whose expertise is putting together people. Now, that's a rare art. Maybe someone who is a brilliant filmmaker may not always know that. So I'm saying that the moment there are subjects, and each film will have a subject, definitely. Each story has a subject. I'm not talking about cause. Okay, cause is slightly different from subject. Okay, so the moment the subject is interesting, it's important, and you develop the story, and that is the basis on which you will be selecting those 10 best ideas. Okay, so the moment you have those 10 best ideas and let everyone feel it important to compete for that 10 ideas, then developing it in a span of 3 months to 6 months time, throughout that you can have 2 cycles, you can have 3 cycles of 4 months each. However, there are many ways to do that. And once you have that and you go with a business plan, with a execution plan to someone, funds are not a very difficult thing if you know what exactly you have to do. Okay, but not everyone may be conversant with that. You step out, you go to Berlin, you go to Toronto, look at how many things are happening constantly. And one thing that I would want any platform to have is have a scope for people coming and telling how they made their films. That itself is so energizing, I can't tell you, because every person who's made a film has a story behind it. Okay, and it gives hope. It gives hope to people. Our choices have to come from the area of hope, not from the area of fears. And that is what will make things happen. That is what has always made things happen. अगर लोग डर के काम करते रहते हैं तो काम कभी नहीं होता है, चाहे वो क्रिएटिव हो या बिजनेस हो, कुछ भी हो. So I think you have to look at 20 people's stories, how they made film, and you need to get the 21st idea yourself. They may not fit you, okay, but it might spark off something in your mind that, well, okay. And if you have a platform and you have these consultants and mentors like these automatically happen. With that, these are some of the thoughts that I'm leaving you with.
I wanted you to interact with Mr. Shahzad just once.
Sure.
How what he is doing and how he feels that this collaboration can, this platform can take off.
Sure, Shahzad, please.
So there is a suggestion from Supriti that we create a platform, a digital platform, this Indus Valley, and also Brahmanand ji also suggested many times that we develop it as a digital platform for filmmakers from all South Asian countries, where they can find support, they can find collaborations, network with other filmmakers from other South Asian countries, and we can also develop a film fund. So cinema interest funds can be accumulated at one place and selected projects could be supported. So
I would say development fund. Yes, development fund could be the first step. Film fund अगर हो जाता है तो और भी अच्छी बात है.
आइडिया ये फिल्म वेल फंड या ये डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म का एक फंड क्रिएट किया जाए, इट्स अ ग्रेट आइडिया. और साउथ एशियन जो है एक दूसरे के करीब आए, एक दूसरे की प्रॉब्लम्स को जो है इस प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू हम जो है थ्रू स्टोरीज थ्रू स्टोरी टेलिंग जो है वो इसे एक्सप्लेन करें, और उस फंड से जो है बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स भी जो सॉल्व हो जाएगी जो इंडिविजुअली इंसान नहीं कर सकता, एक फिल्म मेकर नहीं कर सकता. तो आई अप्रिशिएट दिस आइडिया.
और आपने बहुत सारे कॉमन प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम किया है, तो आपने कैसे किया है? अगर अपने कुछ एक्सपीरियंस आप शेयर करें रफीक साहब.
Sir, we have a great experience with Sri Lanka and Nepal in joint productions in previous years. I think in 80s, end of 80s, we did a lot of films with Sri Lanka joint ventures and Nepal and Bangladesh. And one platform we are missing, that is the SAARC countries.
Yes, SAARC countries. Yes.
I have experienced to participate in SAARC festivals 2 times. Lot of things discussed, lot of ideas come, and there is nothing practical. But right now, I think we have to be practical. We create platform, we create fund, and practically we should take it up. Please.
Yeah. ठीक है, Supriti, I will take your leave. Okay. Yes, I will take your leave and see you soon. Thank you. Bye everyone.
Thank you.
So thank you. Brahmanand ji is a very dear friend of this initiative version later, and he's very, very supportive. I hope, the way he's saying 2 crores is nothing, we can raise it like that. I hope we can do it. I hope that, we can create a good film with actors, technicians, directors from all the countries of the South Asian region. तो शहजाद साहब, एक्चुअली मैं ये पूछ रही थी विसाकेसा और मीर बहादुर साहब से भी मैंने पूछा था कि अगर आपको अपने देश के जो करंट पीपल इश्यूज हैं उस पे आपको कोई फिल्म बनानी हो तो आप कौन सा इशू पिक करेंगे?
देखिए, सबसे बड़ा इशू जो है ना वो पॉवर्टी, वो ये एक कॉमन इशू है. ठीक है, आज़ादी बांग्लादेश ने हासिल की, 2 ग्रुप सेपरेट हुए. ठीक है, आज तक हमने रिजल्ट क्या लिया? आज हम जो है ना पॉवर्टी लाइन के नीचे हैं तीनों कंट्रीज, इवन श्रीलंका आल्सो. तो being a filmmaker, we have to play our societal role as a maker. We have to discuss these problems. These are common problems. We should try to make films to overcome the poverty. And how will we overcome the poverty? That content is a need of time, I think.
So actually, I want to say, I mentioned this earlier. Visakesa ने एक फिल्म बनाई फंक्शन, which is about जब crime होता है, violence होता है हमारी society में, how it affects the common person. So ये एक उनकी फिल्म है। फिर इसी फेस्टिवल में हमने एक और फिल्म दिखाई है, अ वॉलनट, उमर अजीज साहब की है, पाकिस्तान से। वो उन्होंने रेफ्यूजी कैंप में शूट किया है। तो तालिबान अफगानिस्तान का ISI का जो चल रहा था, उसकी वजह से लोग घर छोड़ के आए, रेफ्यूजी कैंप में बस गए। उन्होंने एक ही फैमिली, he has just picked one family and he has created a documentary actually on it. Very well shot documentary. You don't feel it is a documentary. You feel like you're part of a proper film. You know, it is so well, the camera is invisible, like you don't feel it at all. Yesterday we watched another film which was from Bangladesh, and it's about the Rohingya refugee community in Bangladesh, and the largest refugee camp in that area. It's called. I'm just trying to remember the name of the, somehow I can't. But it's very well shot, you know. So I was just thinking, you know, this violence, strife, terrorism, this is one part. Then, like Shahzad Saab said, poverty is another part. You know, all our countries have the poor people struggling to make two ends meet. There is a lot of power politics which is there. Like I mentioned, there are people's movements. There are great people. So what I was trying to say earlier, if we see Pakistan, we have Malala. If we see India, we have Kailash Satyarthi, who fought for child labor. If we see Bangladesh, we have Muhammad Yunus Saab. You know, like that, in every country, there are inspiring leaders, people who have led a people's movement. If we could share those stories, तो लोग इंस्पायर होंगे वो सब देख के, सो दैट वो भी उनको कुछ आइडिया मिले या उनको कुछ इंस्पिरेशन मिले टू हैंडल दीज इश्यूज. आई वाज थिंकिंग फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव. फिर आप क्या सोचते हैं, ऐसे बनाने से लोग देखेंगे?
जी बिल्कुल देखेंगे. मैंने भी हमारे फिल्म उसमें अपने स्कूल के बाहर से एक सोसाइटी को पकड़ा और अपने स्कूल को दिखाया. ठीक है, तो वो बार टेररिज्म में एक ग्रेट एग्जाम्पल. ठीक है, ये इस टेररिज्म के अंदर जो है ना, ऑलमोस्ट हम सभी इन्वॉल्व हैं, विक्टिम है. इंडिया इज आल्सो विक्टिम, श्रीलंका वाज आल्सो विक्टिम, बांग्लादेश इज आल्सो विक्टिम, एंड वी आर स्टिल विक्टिम. ठीक है, but problem is that in our country we have some religious problems, very serious religious problems that break the creativity, that destroy the creativity. It's a very tough challenge.
अगर हम उसको छोड़ दें तो और भी इश्यूज हैं, उसको तो ले सकते हैं.
Yes, there are a lot of other issues. Women empowerment है, जैसे अपने child labor का जो है वो आपने है, child labor is also और and the number of rape cases. ठीक है, why this wave is same problem in India and same problem in Pakistan. The number of people gradually day by day increase. There are a lot of rape stories on news. What is the reason behind? We have to work on it. We have to analyze it. We have to counseling the rapist and the victim. When we same time counseling the victim and rapist, a new dimension will come.
I also want to understand, Shahzad Saab, or I also want to understand from Visakesa and Mean Bahadur Saab also, what are the interesting themes which collaborative projects projects we can take? Like not necessarily an issue. I'm saying any kind of theme, but what could be interesting themes which collaborative project can we can take?
देखिए कोलैबोरेटिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स जो है वो होने चाहिए और उससे ही एक दूसरे के करीब हम आ सकते हैं, एक दूसरे को समझ सकते हैं, एक दूसरे के मसाइल जो है वो ऑन स्क्रीन जो है मैं समझता हूँ कि एक तशखीस का जो है ना बहुत बड़ा सोर्स है। आप प्रॉब्लम्स को जो है वो पॉइंट आउट कर सकते हैं, सोल्यूशन दे सकते हैं। और तीनों मुल्कों के अंदर कोलैबोरेशन होना इसलिए भी जरूरी है, हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स जो है वो कॉमन है, वो कोई एक दूसरे से अलग नहीं है, डिफरेंट नहीं है, सेम प्रॉब्लम है, एक ही जो है वो प्रॉब्लम्स है। और मैं एक फिल्म बनाना चाह रहा हूँ, हमारी एक लड़की है जिसने माउंट एवरेस्ट जो है सबमिट किया था, तो उसके साथ 2 इंडियन लड़कियां जो थी सेम टाइम उन्होंने भी जो है किया। ठीक है, आप एक मिशन के लिए, एक कॉज के लिए जो है एक उसके लिए इकट्ठे हैं, उनके अलग अलग मुल्क हैं, ठीक है, मिशन एक है, उसमें आप इकट्ठे भी हैं, इकट्ठे अपना जो है ना स्ट्रगल भी कर रहे हैं, इकट्ठे अपना टारगेट अचीव करने की भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं। तो ऐसे सब्जेक्ट एक दूसरे को करीब लाते हैं और फिल्म मेकर्स को जो है ना वो चीजों को करीब लाना चाहिए। विशाल साहब तशरीफ रखते हैं, मैं उन्हें आदाब मेरा।
आदाब शहजाद भाई, कैसे हैं आप?
मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ। अब विशाल भाई की मैं मिसाल दूंगा। देखो, कश्मीर एक हॉट इशू है इंडिया और पाकिस्तान में। मुझे हैदर फिल्म, बीइंग ए पाकिस्तानी फिल्म मेकर, मुझे हैदर फिल्म देख के तकलीफ नहीं हुई। इन्होंने मुझे हर्ट नहीं किया, मैं बीइंग ए पाकिस्तानी हर्ट नहीं हुआ। वो एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू था, ठीक है, वो उन्होंने अपना स्क्रीन पे एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दिया। तो मैं वही कहता हूँ कि स्क्रीन जो है वो एक तशखीस करती है, स्क्रीन जो है करीब लाती है, स्क्रीन जो है वो वेंटिलेशन है। ये दोनों मुल्कों के अंदर जो है हमारे वेंटिलेशन, ये फिल्में खुलनी चाहिए, ये प्लेटफॉर्म बनने चाहिए, ये चीजें एक दूसरे के करीब हमें आना चाहिए। हमें सियासत जो है वो सियासतदानों का काम है, फिल्म मेकर्स का काम जो है वो लोगों को एक दूसरे के करीब लाना है, मोहब्बतें बढ़ाना है। हमें उन मौजूद को चुनना होगा, उन्हीं लाइंस के ऊपर जो है ना काम करना होगा। जिस तरह के मैंने अर्ज किया कि हैदर कश्मीर के मौजूद उन्होंने बढ़ाई, लेकिन मैं हर्ट नहीं हुआ। गुलजार साहब ने माचिस बनाई, मैं बीइंग पाकिस्तानी हर्ट नहीं हुआ। ठीक है, उन रियलिटीज को दिखाया उन्होंने स्क्रीन पे, तो इस तरीके से, इस उम्दा तरीके से दिखाया कि वो चीजें तकलीफ दे नहीं लगी। तकलीफ मुझे होती है, मुझे बॉर्डर देख के तकलीफ होती है, ठीक है। फिल्म मेकर का काम ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो स्क्रीन पे नफरत में जो है वो देखे। फिल्म मेकर का काम है सिर्फ स्क्रीन के ऊपर मोहब्बतें जो है वो पेश करें। हम मोहब्बतों के शकीन हैं, हमें मोहब्बतों की जरूरत है। हमें जो अल्लाह ताला ने हमें स्किल दी है, हमें वो स्किल यूज करते हुए हमें एक दूसरे को अपने करीब लाना है।
Shahzad Saab, so we welcome Vishal Bhardwaj Saab to our panel, and to introduce everyone to Vishal ji. Visakesa Chandrasekaram is a eminent filmmaker from from Sri Lanka, and his latest film Panchu is in theaters in Sri Lanka right now, in 7th week. So, and Mr. Meen Bahadur Bham is from Nepal. He's a Nepalese filmmaker, and you know Mr. Shahzad Rafiq. He is from Pakistan. He's a Pakistani filmmaker. Yes, Mr. Shahzad Rafiq has also worked on many collaborative joint productions. So we were just talking about right now, which are the common themes which could be utilized if filmmakers want to make a collaborative project, co-production or joint production. So Visakesa, what is your view on this topic?
Yeah, as I told you, I think I would go for more transnational stories. So that means we have something to do with the other country. And it is very easy for us to come up with stories that we are linked to India because we have a lot of connections with India. In most cases with Tamil Nadu, and even in other cases in other part of the country, because a lot of students go there. So there could be a lot of things happening to these people when they go over there or when they come here. And also, I think, Nepal, perhaps, the whole thing of the pilgrimage trail, the Buddhist pilgrimage trail, and Nepal is there, and a lot of Sri Lankans go there. And I think there could be that sort of transnational stories, and sometimes even the stories that may not have necessarily a transnational aspect, but for the sake of building these connections and collaboration, we can make them, transnational stories. So a love story could have two heroes, the heroine and the hero in two different countries. And also, when it comes to themes, I think I can straight away think of cricket. That sort of stories that the whole region is very passionate about that sort of theme. Although I'm not personally fascinated about that theme, but I think the whole region is very interested about that. And so there could be a lot of themes that we can relate to each other. As I told earlier, the human rights related themes, and also other kind of, the issues about the war in Sri Lanka. So the couple of movies made in India about the war in Sri Lanka, although it was not necessarily shot here, could have been shot here. And so there were, I think there could be numerous themes that we can really look for collaborating. And I think it is just a matter of finding out what are our common interests. I think there are a lot of common interests. But I think also it is really important that we think about the technical aspect as well. And I think in the previous discussion also I mentioned that how much we were relying on Indian labs during the time when we were processing color reels, and still even to date we are still relying on Foley sound making, for relying on Indian studios in terms for the Foley sound making, and sometimes color grading as well. So we can build that sort of partnerships as well. And there is a film, although we don't have a film studio, we have this film shooting village, which is called Ranmini Tanna. And I believe recently Anurag Kashyap came to shoot a film there. And so that sort of, although it is nothing to do with Sri Lanka, it is an Indian film, but they came and shot the film here because a number of reasons. Probably it is cost effective as well. So there could be a number of ways in terms of locations. We can rely on locations of the neighboring country, although the story is very much a local story. So answer to your question in a very in a nutshell, I think themes are immense. There are so many themes that we can really work on.
Vishal sir, it raises a very important point that most of Indian filmmakers, many of Indian filmmakers, many a times we prefer locations in Europe or West Asia to shoot a film. If we look at South Asia for locations, we have such beautiful locations for shooting, and we'll also get a character, local character, which our people can connect. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it depends on the story and the mood of the script and what the script demands. So of course, like Anurag went over there in Sri Lanka, and I think going to Europe now, if the story is set in Europe, then only the filmmakers go. It's not the earlier times that that you cut to a song in Europe. Now those days are gone. Now the filmmakers are more serious, and I'm so happy to see Shahzad bhai here. And इतना दिन हो गए मिले हुए, इतने दिनों बाद देख रहे हैं. कैसे हमारे सब आना जाना बंद हो गया है, बहुत बहुत अजीब लगता है। तो बहुत वक्त हो गया। नहीं तो होता था कि हर 3 महीने में शहजाद भाई बॉम्बे आते थे और हम लोग साथ में बैठते थे। तो आई होप दैट टाइम कम्स बैक अगेन सून, एंड हम सब लोग, इवन विसाखेसा एंड everyone comes here, and we should work together. It's very sad that the filmmakers of our continent are not able to work together because of the political reason.
Supriti, you were talking about the platform. Would you like to? You are mute. You were talking about the platform. Would you like to mention this?
Vishal ji, very nice to have you back. So, Visakesa, I do want to say, Vishal ji has been in the film industry, I think, for 25 years हो गए होंगे, आपको तो 25-30 साल हो गए होंगे अब. And he has made phenomenal films. He has also done a lot of work. One of the films which he made, Blue Umbrella, which we screened in this festival also, tells me something about, there's very little cinema for children. For all our countries, our future is our children. And actually, we hardly make cinema for children. We're only thinking about our age. We're only thinking about adults and their suffering. But the kind of imagination that children have, the kind of freedom that children have in their head, the way they think, somehow our films are not able to capture that. And I thought that that is one area that definitely we should look at collaborating in. Across the region, if we pick little stories of what's going on in a child's head, and how children are responding to things, it'll bring so much happiness in the region. Of course, we are a region which has suffered immensely because of violence, terrorism, internal strife. All the countries have something going on, which is very unfortunate. And it's nice to produce cinema which highlights the sensitivity of that. But I'm always very perturbed. Why is it that filmmakers are not able to do so much around children? Vishalji, you want to say something?
Yeah, because in general we are a very sensitive society towards children as far as their entertainment is concerned. They are mostly, we depend on the foreign, the software and foreign programs. All अब तो काफी एनिमेशन में काम होने लगा है, but before that, they used to buy those programs from there and dub them in our own language and show it. So even the Children Film Society of India, जो हमारी है, that also doesn't produce anything which can be, which is not. I mean, it's not shown in theaters. It doesn't go to even any OTT platform. And the filmmakers, I think they're, it's a very sad state. We don't take care of our children, and that's why consciously in my initial stage of my career, I made 2 films for kids, Makri and Blue Umbrella. And I want to make more, पर अभी भी मसला सारा परेशानी वही आती है कि how to raise finance, because nobody wants to invest money in children's film. But consciously, if one tries, then one should definitely try, because we should make film for kids. And there's so much is written. I mean, we have such great stories like the Rustin Bond, the way he writes for kids. It's so beautiful he writes for kids, but we must make more films for kids. Yeah.
सर अभी ये डिस्कशन चल रही थी हमारी आपके आने के पहले कि वी शुड प्लान अ प्लेटफॉर्म वेयर digital platform where filmmaker, creative professional from across South Asia are connected, and maybe a fund which could be created, a cinema fund, development fund per se, so that filmmakers can at least develop their project to a certain level where it could be pitched to the studios.
So actually, नहीं आप बोलिए.
मैं कह रहा था कि बहुत अच्छा है, ख्याल तो बहुत अच्छा है, और कैसे आप फंड क्रिएट करते हैं वो डिपेंड करेगा, कैसे कर पाएंगे मुश्किल काम है बहुत। दुनिया का सबसे मुश्किल काम फंड क्रिएट करना होता है। तो अगर आप कर सकें तो बहुत अच्छी बात है। हमारी जो भी सपोर्ट चाहिए हम सब मेकर्स की, वी आर देयर टू हेल्प यू इन दैट।
So actually, Brahmanand Singh ji was here with us some time back, and he also said कि ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म बनाना चाहिए कि उसमें हम इस रीजन से कोई 10 प्रोजेक्ट्स लें, खाली 10 प्रोजेक्ट या 5 प्रोजेक्ट, और सपोज एक प्रोजेक्ट को 25-50 लाख चाहिए, तो उसके हिसाब से हम पैसे रेज करेंगे। ही सेड कि it would be possible to find some production houses or corporates to support, provided the idea is good. And so, hi Bobby, nice that you can join us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Sorry for late.
Yeah, so I want to introduce Bobby to everybody. She's a very renowned actor from Bangladesh, and she has done some phenomenal work, extremely popular. So thank you very much, Bobby, for joining us. We are just discussing how we can create a platform where we can have actors, technicians, directors, all the countries come together and produce work of quality, good content. So I was just explaining that what Brahmanand Singh said. He said we could have a panel of script writer consultants, of director consultants, people who would support in ensuring the content is super top. फिर हम ये फिल्म क्रिएट करें। आप क्या सोचते हैं, ऐसे हो सकता है, ऐसे पैनल बन सकता है?
विशाल सर।
हाँ बिल्कुल, आई थिंक बिल्कुल बन सकता है, पैनल तो बिल्कुल बन सकता है। And it will be a great noble cause to do this, and I think we should all of us should come together and make it work, because that's the only way we can bring the art of each country and the culture of each country together, and work together. And I was saying, Shahzad Saab, Asim bhi aaj aane wale the, Asim didn't come.
आसिम का के भाई फर्स्ट कजन का आज सुबह डेथ हो गया, तो ही इज वेरी वेरी अपसेट। तो ही जस्ट मैसेज फ्यू मिनट्स हाफ एन आवर बिफोर द सेशन स्टार्टेड कि हर्ष हादसा हो गया, मैं बहुत परेशान हूँ।
तो मैं यही बोल रहा हूँ कि जैसे मेरे क्वेश्चन, ये दोस्त हैं, भाई की तरह हैं, तो ऐसे हम लोग एक दूसरे का कल्चर, एंड आई वुड लाइक टू एक्सप्लोर, आई वुड लाइक टू गो टू बांग्लादेश and Sri Lanka and Nepal and explore the artists from there, work with them, make stories. We can have so many cross-culture stories we can do together. So it can be a very good platform.
We are towards the end. So since Bobby has just joined, so let us know her views about collaboration in South Asia. You know the theme. So what do you think about it?
Thank you, Harsh, for made a platform for South Asian films, so that we can talk about our films. And hello, everyone. But I'm a big fan of Vishal sir. I just loved your films. I'm so proud that I'm sharing with you guys my opinion with you, and I'm thankful to Harsh that you choose my film Beachly. That was my dream project. That was my first film as the producer. I did 20 film. Beachly was my first producing films, and I think I'm doing films last 9 or 8 years, so that I'm immature between you guys. So what can I say? It's a great things, Harsh, you did for South Asian films. So we have so much crisis for films. I did Beachly, which is superhero based films. When I think that we'll do a film based superhero with our artist, everyone says why? it's a risky project. Our Bangladeshi audience is not ready for that film. Still, I did that, and everyone really loved my film. Budget-wise, Bangladeshi film's budget is so small, but still my budget was 3.5 crore, which is nothing to compare a Hollywood or Bollywood film. So that's it.
Yeah, we are screening her.
We are trying and doing better films, trying.
Yes. We are screening Bobby's superhero film Bijli tonight. Bijli is a Bangladesh's first woman superhero film. It's a kind of Wonder Woman of Bangladesh. She's a Wonder Woman of Bangladesh.
It's a organic story, just inspired by Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I'm just giving a reference. So, friends, many thanks for joining. We had a lovely interaction, through very fruitful interaction with all of you. And we'll keep on this discussion offline mode through emails and chats. And hopefully we will be able to create this platform in coming times, coming months. But anyway, we should keep on interacting with each other. If anyone wants to say anything at the end, they can go ahead.
It's nice to meet you all. Thank you. Thanks for providing this opportunity.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank
Bye.
you.